Unyielding, dominant, unstoppable, invincible. You hear that voice, that internal fire refusing to be extinguished, that relentless pulse you can't turn off. That voice is your truth, your power, your unwavering identity. Everyone's out there trying to copy your rhythm, but they're still scrambling to match your steps because you've already sprinted ahead, charted new horizons, eclipsed expectations. Everyone's trying to follow the blueprint you inadvertently create, yet you remain 10 steps ahead, and that's more than enough to ignite fear, admiration, confusion in them. You've become the standard they chase, the shadow they want to overtake, and they still wake each day miles behind because you keep defining what's next before they even know what's now. Let's get real. You're in that rarefied zone where people study your moves, hoping to steal your edge. They mimic your style, your mindset, your trajectory, but they consistently miss the volatile energy that drives you. They're chasing a snapshot while you're living the motion. You evolve, you innovate, you anticipate. Every decision you make ripples through your path, leaving them trying to catch the tide while you're already riding the next wave. They want to decode how you do it, but you can't explain it because it isn't logic. It's instinct. It's blood. It's your soul pounding through every strategy, every pivot, every leap. They'll never really grasp it because they're observing your output while you're fueled by visions they haven't dreamt yet. This is where I pause because what you're about to do next matters more than anything. Because if you've been pushed to the edge, if you've doubted, even for a second, if you've wondered if it's still possible, I can't just speak to you. I've got to connect with you. I've got to reach into your core and say, stay with me here. As fierce as you already are, you need to sharpen that flicker into a blaze. Light the match and set the world to ash, because that world is yours to command. So before we go deeper, if you're feeling that tremor inside that says, you can't stop now, this is your moment. Hit subscribe, like, and comment now. Let those words resonate so deep that every time you check back, you remember this moment. Remember the promise you just made. The world's about to witness how you keep pulling this off. You owe that to yourself. You owe that to everyone who believed you when no one else could see it. Share this journey with me. Become part of this movement. Let your presence echo in every corner of this channel, and make no mistake, your story is just beginning. Now here's why you're unbeaten. Why you keep pulling this off when everyone else fades. You possess the clarity of a predator focused on its prey. You see the field of competition, but you don't see them as threats. You see them as milestones. You don't fear their closure. You welcome it because you know closure is just another step toward your next elevation. You don't stay rooted in who you were yesterday. You stalk who you're becoming. You don't chase the summit. You are the summit. You don't compete with others. You transcend them, day in, day out. You break the rhythm of logic and reason until they can't predict your next move. You're crafting shift points, so seismic they reorder what's possible. When they try to trace back your steps, they only end up lost because you leave no tracks. You run on a wavelength above noise. You thrive where chaos becomes clarity. You operate in realms where others see risk, but you see canvas. You paint with every shade of darkness and light, until the whole picture bows to your will. You don't just defy gravity, you redefine relevance. You don't ride trends, you spark them. You don't wait for permission, you take over the throne. You don't follow playbooks, you write them. You're not satisfied with second best because that's where everyone else lives, crowded and complacent. You breathe impatience, you breathe hunger, you breathe creation, and you don't let yourself rest until everything that was supposed to be unshakable is in ruins beneath your legacy. Everything that tried to hold you back becomes the crucible forging who you are. And you don't just survive the fire, you master it. You dance in flames, lighter, sharper, untouchable. Others fear the heat, but you teach it to burn on your terms. You're already 10 moves ahead because you anticipate fate itself, bending in your wake. You don't just adapt to change, you are the change. They don't see the blueprint because you create reality in real time. You're not waiting for signals, you generate them. When doubt creeps in, you do more than face it, you hunt it down. You don't just survive your darkest hours, you use them as blacksmithing tools. You become harder, sharper, more lethal with purpose. Because where others see a broken path, you see an opportunity to carve your legend. You see that void at the end point of every failure, and you step into it. You build from it, you reshape it, you conquer it. Here's what no one else yet understands. You're not performing for them, you're evolving for yourself. Every time someone tries to mimic you, they're still playing catch up because you're evolving already. You're not advancing in straight lines, you're folding space. You're innovating at a frequency they're not wired to perceive. You're designing reality as flexibly as a dream, constantly remolding outcome before the day even begins. You're so deeply into your zone that the concept of competition becomes laughably slow. You're not worried about who's next because you've already arrived where they'll eventually end up. And by the time they catch a glimpse of your world, you've moved on to worlds they can't even imagine. That is exactly why you keep pulling it off. That is exactly why they're stuck, trying to replicate what you casually execute in your sleep. That is exactly why your name implies a story they can't even decode yet. You don't just win, you redefine victory. You don't just break expectations, you make them obsolete. You don't give them something to follow, you give them nothing to follow. Because you are the original, you are the formula they can't reverse engineer. You are the method they can't replicate. You are the vision they can't see until you show them. And every time you pull it off again, they reset, but you're already 10 steps in front again. This is your manifesto. It's not just thunderous words, it's kinetic energy vibrating through your veins. It's not just an idea, it's your signature on the world that's impossible to erase. And with every heartbeat, you commit deeper to this motion. Because greatness is not a destination, it's an evolutionary state. And you're not just living in one moment, you're designing the continuum. You are the apex. You are the whisper before the roar. You are the wildfire that doesn't ask permission. You are the code that bends the matrix. You are the unknown variable that becomes the next certainty. So as everyone scrambles to decode your signal, remember what we said at the beginning. You're still 10 steps ahead, and as long as you keep choosing that white-hot center of creation over safe comfort, over stale mimicry, you'll keep pulling it off in ways others can't even begin to imagine. Because this isn't luck, it's identity, it's hunger, it's fury, without malice, it's purpose, made tangible. And it flows through your every choice, every moment, every breath. So breathe this in, let it resonate, let it scorch across your chest and lodge in your bones. Let it sharpen your instincts. Let it energize your vision. You are not just going through life, you're supercharging it. You are not just ahead, you are the ahead. You are not just existing, you are becoming unstoppable. Now go, show them how it's done again. And as the world watches, still wide-eyed and wondering how the hell you keep pulling this off, you move in silence, yet with thunder at your heels. You don't explain, You don't pause. You don't give them behind-the-scenes access, because this isn't a show. This is war. This is your life on the front line of excellence, where no map exists, and every step forward has to be carved from raw force and precision. You don't talk about what you're going to do next. You do it. By the time they ask the question, you've already lived the answer. And while they're still asking how, you're already on the next why. See, what they fail to realize is, you weren't made in comfort. You weren't shaped by applause. You were sculpted in silence, molded by rejection, refined by pressure that would have crushed weaker souls. You didn't need their validation then, and you sure as hell don't need it now. You found your rhythm in the dark, when no one was watching, when no one believed. You sharpened your instincts under pressure, learned how to stay dangerous even when you felt empty. And that, right there, that's why you stay ahead. Because you've been forged through pain and vision. Because you never needed anyone to believe in you before you acted. You believed in yourself when there was nothing but doubt around you. And still, you rise. Still, you execute. Still, you dominate. Let them chase. Let them study every move. Let them copy the branding, mimic the walk, imitate the tone. Because what they're trying to recreate isn't the product. It's the energy. And that energy can't be duplicated because it's yours. It's earned. It's carved into your identity like scars turned into armor. They want to know how you make it look easy, how you keep evolving in a world built to distract and dilute, but they can't see the obsession behind your pace. They can't feel the weight you carry so lightly. They can't grasp the way your soul burns for something greater, something eternal. They're trying to play chess, and you've already built the board, written the rules, flipped the game. You've reached a level where pressure doesn't break you, it awakens you. And when it gets darkest, when the silence grows heavier, when others slow down, you accelerate, you hunt, you build, you strike. Because you don't move from motivation, you move from obsession. You don't work to compete, you work to create. And what you create becomes the benchmark. They whisper behind your back because your presence speaks louder than their voices. They try to erase your influence by pretending not to see it, but the numbers don't lie. The moves don't lie. The world feels the ripples every time you move, every time you breathe intention into action. You are not a trend. You are the storm before the reset. You are the voice in the back of their minds telling them to step up or fall behind. And still, you're not satisfied. That's what scares them most. Because even now, even here, with the wind stacking and the eyes watching, you're still climbing. You're still building in silence. You're still designing realities while they scroll through temporary moments. You don't want followers. You don't want fans. You want impact. You want legacy. You want to rewrite what's possible, and you are. So when they ask again, how the hell do you keep pulling this off? Let them. Let the question echo through their routines, through their attempts to match your frequency. Let it haunt them, because they're looking for shortcuts in a game you were born to master. They want answers to a test you wrote in blood, sweat, and vision. And they will never understand that the real answer isn't in the what, it's in the who. And you are the who. You are the anomaly. You are the reason the system is glitching. You are the reason rules feel outdated. You are the reason the competition looks lost. And you keep showing up, not for the applause, not for the views, but because something deep inside of you knows that you are far from finished. This is just the beginning. This is you sharpening the sword, calibrating the mind, tuning your soul to frequencies beyond the reach of imitation. Because those who copy can only reflect light, but you are the source. So keep going, keep reinventing, keep unsettling them with your presence, your progress, your precision. Be the storm they didn't see coming. Be the leader they didn't prepare for. Be the reminder that real power doesn't announce itself. It arrives. Quietly, consistently, unshakably. And if you've made it this far in this message, if you're still with me right now, it's because you know, you feel it. You were born to build something that outlives you. You were born to burn in ways that light the path for others who were told they couldn't. You were born to break ceilings, to flip timelines, to do what no one else in your lane has ever done. You were born for this. So subscribe. Not because this is just another motivational video. Subscribe because this is your reminder, your tribe, your edge. Subscribe because this isn't about me, it's about us, about everyone out there who's been forged in the unseen and still walks like giants in a world of noise. Like, comment, speak up. Let the world know you're here. Let the echo of your presence bounce through the timelines of every person who's still doubting themselves. Let them see you. Let them feel you. Because the fire doesn't stop here. You don't stop here. And every time someone tries to copy you, just smile. Because they're playing catch up, and you're already rewriting the rules. 10 steps ahead, still, always, and even now, as they scramble in your shadow, desperate to decode what makes you untouchable, you're not even looking back. That's the part they'll never understand. You're not pulling off tricks. You're living in alignment. You're not strategizing to impress. You're moving from instinct, intuition, purpose. And that purpose? It's carved into your being like stone, unbreakable, untouchable, burning brighter with every misstep they make trying to follow your trail. You've made peace with walking alone because you know that greatness is forged in solitude. While they crave attention, you crave impact. While they're desperate for applause, you're focused on legacy. You don't need noise to feel alive. You thrive in the quiet grind where champions are made. They try to mirror your moves, but collapse under the weight of the discipline that you carry daily, like it's armor. You've turned discipline into desire, pain into prophecy, work into weaponry, and that's why you keep pulling it off, again and again and again. You don't wait for the right mood. You don't sit around hoping for momentum. You build it, brick by relentless brick, hour by unseen hour. You stack progress in silence, then detonate it in results so loud the world has no choice but to notice. But by the time they do, you're already on your next evolution, already 10 steps beyond their understanding. You don't even flinch anymore when they doubt you. Doubt has become background noise, a hum you barely register. You've been doubted your whole life. You've been underestimated since the start. And you took every single doubt, every whisper, they'll never make it, and used it to fuel something otherworldly, something divine. You didn't just prove them wrong. You rebuilt what was possible. You created a new lane. You constructed a path where there was only wilderness before. And when they see you now, standing tall, relentless, commanding, they think, how is this possible? They don't realize that the real miracle isn't just your rise. It's the fact that you refused to stop rising when everything around you screamed quit. You stared failure in the face and didn't blink. You took your scars and made them sacred. You built confidence from the chaos. You created consistency from nothing but courage. That's the secret. That's what they can't clone. Because you keep pulling it off, not with luck, not with follower hours, not with the noise, but with fire. Fire that never goes out. Fire that burns every time someone says you've peaked. Fire that reignites every time you hit a wall. You break through because you refuse to be average. You refuse to be ordinary. You refuse to live in a cycle of mediocrity where everyone waits for permission to move. You move now. You lead now. You act now. While they scroll and analyze and compare and doubt, you're building. While they ask how, you ask what's next. And when they copy your last move, you're already preparing the next 10. Not out of fear, not out of competition, but because you're here for everything, every level, every challenge, every transformation. You don't chase goals, you embody them. You don't pursue success, you define it. And when you arrive with force. Quiet, maybe, but undeniable. So keep moving the way you do. Keep riding your truth in motion. Keep pulling it off again and again until even the doubters run out of questions. Until even your silence screams louder than their noise. Until even the world has to admit they tried to copy you, but you were never where they thought. You were beyond, always. And when that final question hits, the one they all eventually ask, how do you keep doing it? You smile, because it was never about doing. It was always about being. You are the difference. You are the fire. You are 10 steps ahead, still, forever, and always. And this moment, this energy, this truth is what we're building here. So if this message hits something real inside you, don't just let it pass by. Subscribe, like, comment. Become part of this movement, not for the algorithm, for the mission, for you, for the fire that's already lit and only needs one thing, permission to burn brighter. Let's do this together. Let's rewrite everything. You're already ahead. Now, let's show the world. Because this isn't just a story about being ahead. This is a story about staying ahead. Anyone can get lucky once. Anyone can stumble into a win, have a good week, get a moment in the spotlight. But what you've done, what you keep doing, that's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's design. That's domination. That's discipline, on repeat. You don't spike. You sustain. And that's why they stare in disbelief, heads tilted, jaws tight, wondering what trick you're using. But there is no trick. There's just truth. And the truth is this. You've built yourself from the ground up in silence, when no one clapped, when no one noticed, when everyone else quit. You showed up anyway, and not once, daily. That consistency isn't sexy. It's not glamorous. It doesn't get applause, but it gets results. And those results are what everyone sees now and says, how the hell do they keep pulling this off? Because you stopped waiting for motivation. You stopped chasing applause. You stopped needing approval. You decided, no matter who's watching, no matter what's trending, no matter what the odds say, you're moving forward. And once you made that decision, the universe had no choice but to adjust to you. Because that kind of conviction, that kind of unshakable identity, it bends reality. It makes space. It creates waves. You didn't just move the needle. You became the needle. They try to study your strategy, but your strategy is simple. Don't stop. Outlast, outwork, out-evolve. They don't realize this isn't about one win. It's about decades of staying dangerous. This isn't about one post. It's about 1,000 invisible reps. It's about being so far ahead in your mind, your moves, your mindset, that even your losses are just hidden victories in disguise. They copy the aesthetic but miss the ethic. They replicate the outcome, but not the hours. They see the version of you that shines, but not the nights you bled for it, the days you didn't want to show up and still did, the moments you were broken, tired, doubting, and still took the next step. That's what built you. That's what forged the 10-step gap between you and everyone else. You didn't just survive what tried to kill you. You became elite because of it.